Hey everybody, we are the FitHealth Pros. I am Coach Sean.
I'm Dr. Kevin.
And we are doing our Best Health series. Now this Best Health series is touching upon specific decades within our lives and specific skill sets. So today's Best Health series is on athletes. So today we're going to touch upon best nutrition, best exercise, best sleep science, and best stress management. And we're going to jump right into nutrition off the top.
All right, so number one, nutrition. So we do have a lot to talk about today, so we're going to probably talk a little fast, trying to get through everything, but we will post this board down below so you don't have to take notes. So with nutrition, if you are a professional athlete or a semi-pro athlete or a novice athlete or a wannabe athlete, here's some basic. There's a lot of athletes. Here's some basic guidelines. So number one, no matter what you do, you want proper hydration. And what that's going to do, it's critical to combat fatigue, cramping, and heat stroke. So whatever your body needs, we need to hydrate it, number one. So the next things are into three groups. So how you utilize energy, it really depends on your intensity and duration of exercise. So depending on that, you may have to up the calories to get that proper energy. So we're looking at those three factors of complex carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So let's start with the complex carbohydrates. So some sources of complex carbohydrates are going to be your potatoes, beans, vegetables, whole grains, and pastas. Those are the things that you would load ahead of time if you're an endurance athlete. So how does the carbohydrate work? Well, there's glucose, which is going to be your immediate source. It's going to be your quick acting. Your body's going to utilize that first. And then you have glycogen stores, and that's stored in the muscles. So that's a good thing, but it can be a bad thing as well. So how much carbohydrate do we need? If you are a large person or a small person, we want 3 to 4.5 grams per pound of body weight. Okay, so now let's go back to the glycogen stores. So that is going to be good for up to 2 hours of your event. All right, so if you don't replenish your glucose before the 2 hours are up, you may have seen people cramp, or all of a sudden they just run out of gas. They got nothing left. So that's where our Gatorades come in, and all of the replenishments of the carbohydrates. So
Electrolytes.
Yeah, bringing those electrolytes back in. So endurance athletes really need those complex carbohydrates, and again, you would want to load beforehand 70% carbs for pre-competition. All right, so that's the carbohydrates. So with fats,
healthy fats.
Healthy fats. So no pizzas, greasy burgers. Yeah.
Fried chicken.
All right. So
no, that's not included.
That's not included. Most dense macro. Now, when we want to load with fats, which this is going to be more very specialized and more rare, most of the time, for most athletes, it's going to be more carbo-centric versus loading with fats, but you do want those good fats. But someone who does things like mountain climbing, ultra endurance races, you really want to up the fat category there. Let's see, so the duration is longer and longer. You need to use more fats. The intensity kind of decreases too. So that is a hint. If you're trying to lose fat, you want to have a long duration and a lower intensity. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
All right.
That'll work.
What are the healthy fats? Avocados, nuts, fatty fish, oil, your olive oil, coconut oil. So those are all great sources of fats that you can have for your nutrition. Add that into your diet, you're going to notice a difference. All right, now protein. Protein, everyone knows about protein. We want lean meats, we want eggs. Hopefully they are organic or grass-fed or free range.
Yes.
Make sure that they're ranging with freedom.
I'm free!
I'm free. But protein really has a minimal energy contribution. but it is for the building blocks of tissues, provides enzymes and hormones. We want to make sure that you're doing that during your practices and build-up times and reparations. So we don't want too much protein intake before competition, because that can rob the body. It can turn in, if you overdo it, it can turn into the unhealthy fat, and then that robs the body's ability to grab those good complex carbohydrates and those good clean fats. So we want to make sure that you are good with the protein sources. All right, the other things that people like to do is add in vitamins, minerals, vitamin D, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin E, potassium, iron, and calcium. And then the last thing would be the antioxidants, because exercise, especially if you're an athlete at that level, does cause oxidative stress. So kind of going into the next phase can be exercise.
Yeah, so utilizing that nutrition, we're going to go into your training progressions, your training sessions. Every bit of exercise for these athletes, for you guys, are going to be based upon your sport-specific needs. The time needed, duration of your sessions, the intensity of your sessions, the progression of the training, and the rest needed between the sessions is very sport-specific. Each sport is going to need its own of each of these. We're just talking about nutrition. That proper nutrition, proper amounts of sleep are imperative for you to have your best possible training sessions. Oftentimes with athletes, especially as you progress through the levels, they kind of get weeded out as you get to the pro level, but a little bit beneath that, maybe especially like the high school levels where the natural athletes are going to come out ahead every time. Well, they focus on that natural athleticism, and they don't think that proper nutrition or proper sleep really means that much, because they're going to go out and they're going to dominate anyways. Well, just how much better could they be? And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for you to max out your potential. So even if you are head and shoulders above your competition at that specific level, guess what? You will play even better with proper nutrition and proper sleep. Going to want to focus on stretching as well. You're going to want to focus on that flexibility that comes with dynamic stretching or active stretching before your sessions, and your static stretching at the end. Now, in addition to flexibility, it's also going to help with your injury prevention as well. And that's a big thing with Dr. Fox and myself, is trying to keep our clients as injury-free as possible. Utilizing this stretching before and after goes a long way toward this, no matter what level you're at. Your sessions are also going to be based upon your energy level and your muscle reparations for that day too. Because of this, you'll want to not only have your practice with your team, but you're also going to want to have a team behind you. Skills coaches, trainers, etc., that can work with you individually, and that's where that working on different energy levels and muscle reparations comes in, because you can tell your coaches specifically how you're feeling on any given day, and they can work at that level. They're professionals. They know how to do that, hopefully. You're also going to want that extra endurance training to up your stamina. Always train at a level even more intense than what your competition level is going to be at. You know, oftentimes when you're if you're, say, coming off the bench, you're in there for quick hitting. You know, train harder beforehand so that when you do get in, you can shine. Again, we're looking to fulfill that potential, skills-wise as well. You're going to focus on your performance. You're going to focus on your form and your precision of movement. The better that you focus on your form during practice, during these training sessions, during these exercise periods, when you get in the game, you won't even have to think about it, because it's already built into your body. That form, that precision of movement is in you, and you're ready to go. You know, we were talking about injuries before. Oftentimes, injuries are going to be caused by poor progressions, where you're jumping into training and you haven't properly progressed into a hard move, you didn't do the easy and the intermediate moves before you go into a hard move, you get hurt. So proper progressions. Poor sleep, you're just not ready. Your muscles haven't repaired from the previous training session, so guess what? It tears down, you get injured, and you're on the shelf. An athlete on the shelf is not helping yourself, it's not helping your team. So protect against that. Get your sleep. And the last one, which we don't want to admit happens sometimes, but it's poor effort. When you have poor effort at a practice, at a training session, you're setting yourself up not just for failure within the session, but for possible injury. So do your best no matter when. You might think, well, I'm going to perform my best at game time. Guess what? If you don't perform at your best during the training sessions, that best may not come out during the game time when the game's on the line because you're not prepared. Be prepared. Proper preparation. Be prepared. There's a lot more that goes with that, and I'm not going to necessarily say that right now. But proper preparation prevents bad performance. We'll say just bad performance. Be patient with your training. Trust your coaches, trust your team, and plan well. Know what you're going to do ahead of time, and just be ready and prepared and ready to crush as soon as you get onto that practice field.
Wow. We want to go out and crush it right now, right? Are you guys fired up? That was like a pep talk, halftime talk right there.
Man.
Awesome stuff.
Let's get it.
So you definitely like that. I think everybody needs to hear that. So let's go ahead. We're going to go into the third thing. We're running out of time a little bit, but sleep science is important. We want to make sure that you are recovering the best you can. And I know a lot of athletes think, hey, I'm okay, I'm good, I can stay up the night before, party or whatever, and then they perform good, but again, just like Coach said, it could be better. And let's go for the best, right? So it's important for recovery, adaptation of the body and the mind. That's going to affect everything there. Improving your performance, reducing your injury risk and illness, and really optimizes your health overall. If you're feeling healthy, you're going to push it even more. And that's what we really want there.
Yeah.
Okay. So as an athlete, you may require more sleep. So depending on your age and what skill level you're at, we're saying 9 to 10 hours, and that can be during the nighttime after rest. It can include naps in there as well. So don't be afraid to take a nap to recover. So that's real good.
Yeah.
So here's some things that may hinder your sleep. So we know if you're anxious or have anxiety, that could definitely do it. Long distance travel. If you're, even little kids. I have a friend that their kid's in hockey, and I mean, they don't have local hockey real close in Arizona, so they're going to California all the time, Colorado all the time, and that long distance travel causes fatigue, disorientation, jet lag, and stress. So that's not great. What does that equal then? Sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation inhibits performance. It decreases your mood or affects your mood. It decreases brain acuity and activity. Your reaction time is severely reduced. So you can kind of see where we're going with sleep now, how important it is.
So important.
Yeah.
Can't overemphasize.
So if we get good sleep, then we're increasing our skills. Many studies are showing that free throws, the percentage of free throws made, increases with good sleep. Serve accuracy, throwing accuracy, speed and endurance, all of those things are improved. So we want to form a good sleep routine. No nicotine, alcohol, sedatives, devices, especially while you're in the intensive training phase and pre-game time phase. We want to set up our training sessions on a schedule, so don't vary it. You don't want to do one in the morning and one at 2 and one at midnight. Try to have your training sessions so there's less variation and consistency. So that's going to be real good. So that's pretty much the sleep science. I mean, there is a lot right there. Let's go ahead and talk about stress management.
So stress management, I want to kind of touch upon three different specific stressors for athletes. You got your organizational, your competitive, and your personal stressors. When we're talking about organizational stressors, we're talking about training and competition schedules. Some of those things that are completely out of your hands may go against your natural circadian rhythm, but it's like, guess what? You're on this team, you got to show up at a specific time. Interpersonal conflict, it could be with a coach, it could be with a teammate, it could be with someone in administration of your team or league. That could affect your performance. Lack of support. You just don't, you feel like people just don't get you, which happens in life, but it happens with athletes often. And then touching upon travel, like we were talking about before too, it's like a stranger in a strange land. You show up at this place, it's not your fans, it's not your field, it's not your weather sometimes, and that can really take you off the rails a little bit. In terms of competitive stress, we're talking about, the opposite number that you've been waiting to play against all season long, and all of a sudden, the game's here. Well, guess what? That night beforehand, you might not get much sleep because that stress has been built up because you've been looking so forward to this moment. And then that could affect your performance in the biggest game that you've checked off because of that opposite number. We're talking competitive stress with injuries. You work so hard and you get injured. How is that going to affect you? And then coming back from injury and knowing that those first few games back from injury, no matter how good the team is, they got you back on your feet or fixed your shoulder or whatever the case may be, you're not going to be 100% those first few games back, mentally as much as physically. So you got to work through that. Form and technique, where you practice. You think you have it in your body, you get in the game and you miss every shot that night. You go into a slump if you're in baseball for games at a time and you just can't hit that curveball. Well, that's going to affect your overall game, not just your batting. It's going to affect how you train. So that's a major stressor. Overtraining. That can drag you down. You may not even realize you're overtraining and you're beat up and your muscles aren't repairing as well as they need to. And that's affecting you. And guess what? That can bring you down. Seeding for tournaments or a season. You're trying to fight for that first place spot, or you're trying to fight for that last playoff seed. That can weigh on you where you're just checking over and over again the standings. Then we go into the personal life stress. This affects everyone. These are more of the stressors that everyone kind of gets, but it's added on top of these other competitive stresses that I just talked about. Financial, academic endeavors, if you're in high school or college, or if you're a professional athlete and you're going back to school, you're taking some online classes or something of that nature. You got test anxiety built into this as well. A job, if say you're a high school athlete, you got to help the family out and you have a job in addition to your practice schedule in school, it can weigh on you. It can really drag you down. And then talking about other lifestyle stressors like alcohol or sleep, sleep anxiety where you just can't get any insomnia and other sleep apneas. There is a psychological stress in all of this. So it can slow down your strength recovery, it can slow down your cognitive functioning. So what can we do to counteract this stress? We can get a good team behind us. Add to your team, not just your competitive team, your trainers and your therapists or your sports therapists and chiropractors, etc. But we're also talking about your sports psychologists who can help you envision what you're going to do at that big game against your opposite number. Be ready for it. Have people that can help you be ready for it. Also, your coaches can also help you there too. A good coach's door is generally open. You know, they've got a lot on their plate to get the game plan going and progress every player to be the best they can be. And because of that, they should want to hear what's going on with you and what you need help with. Learn some calming techniques, some breathing, some yoga, some foam rolling, just some different things, meditation, journaling, just some things to kind of go into what's going on with me and how can I clear this away psychologically so I can be at my best when it's game time.
Wow, that was good
There's
too.
more. There's more.
There's definitely more.
You can definitely tell I'm very passionate about the athletes that I work with and the different levels that we have to work with to get peak performance.
Yeah, I appreciate you kind of spending the time to go over that. You know, I think Coach Sean's intent is not to burden you with how many different stresses that can be, and there can be a lot, but really to put that information out there. And I think that that's what takes a so-so athlete to a great athlete, is to know what potentially could be stressful and know how to address that.
Right. Know when it's coming up.
And I mean,
How to
that's the big
address
headspace change right there.
Right.
So, man, that was good as well. So we appreciate that.
Right. Thank you.
Yes. That's what we're here for.
We're here to help,
All
folks.
right. So if you got a lot out of this, we would appreciate that you share it. We would appreciate that you subscribe to our channel. We have more to go. We're next going into the different age groups in the 30s and the 40s and up. So keep watching. Like us. If you got a lot out of this, definitely
Smash the subscribe button.
smash that button. And
Please.
we are the FitHealth Pros. And I'm Dr. Kevin.
And I'm Coach Sean.
And thanks for spending time with us.
Hey,
You guys have a good one.
see you again soon. Thanks.